Welcome everyone to the You Can't Handle the True Sports podcast. I am Rubbish, as people call me, and with me, as always, is the voice of reason, the guy who keeps me from jumping off a ledge, the pistol. Mate, how are you on this fine morning just before the AFL season is to kick off?
Yeah, pretty good. It's good to have some footy back.
Yeah, it is. I mean, well, it is. It is at this stage. We'll see how we feel after round two. But no, you're right. It's good. It's good for it to be back.
Yeah.
This is the time of year when you can feel most optimistic. And there's some really really good stuff happening. I think with our club at the moment. Some really exciting stuff, but then there's also, I guess, some things that you sort of look at and go, well, that's the same old garbage that we cop every year. So, happy days. We've got the big, I won't say big game. It's a bloody scratch match against Melbourne down our way, Rushton Park, this week.
Yep.
Are you going to that?
Nah, I can't get there this week. Girls got surf life saving on.
Yeah, fair enough. Gotta run the family.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I can't make it either, to be honest. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. The D's are coming across, as I understand it. They're planning to come across with a pretty strong squad. And I think most teams at this time, for the last scratchy, they probably want to go as close to their best team as what they can, or how they think that they're going to line up as close as they can for round one. With the Dockers, it seems as though, well, we've obviously got injuries. Every team's got injuries, but for us, it looks like we're going to be definitely without Sean Darcy. Hayden Young, unfortunately, he's had a recurrence of his hammy. That is not ideal. He's looks certain to miss round one now.
Yep.
As far as players that you're prepared to lose go, he, I think, is almost our most important player now. So that is not ideal. We've got Alex Pearce, who is seemingly 50-50 for the Melbourne game.
He's got that ankle tweak.
Yeah, he's saying he's 100% in for the actual game against for round one. Oops, sorry.
Yep.
For round one, but yeah, I don't know. I don't trust.
Well, if he's saying that, then why even contemplate playing this week? So if you're saying you're 100% right for the Cats and you're not quite right for Melbourne, like why bother?
Yeah, I mean it's
a long season, and historically, with his ankles and lower legs, why would you bother?
Yeah, so I mean, it's very very frustrating. The way the Dockers manage injuries. Maybe it's not management of injuries. It's the way they communicate injuries. I just don't believe them. I don't believe the club at all because I feel like they're the worst at it in the club, or worse for doing it, and that is putting a positive spin on something, and then, we're all sort of looking at that going, okay, it's not too bad, and then it goes for an extra 3 or 4 weeks, and you're like, what the hell has happened? And
then that's when everyone's thinking that the medicos are incompetent because it's gone that extra time. Yeah.
I do not believe that our medicos are incompetent in any way, shape, or form.
100%.
I just feel like the club, for whatever reason, want to put a positive angle on it. And yeah, it's a really weird thing that they do.
And that's fine to be positive, but put a realistic time frame on it. Like if the lower end's 3 weeks, put a higher end on. Like best case scenario, it's going to be 3 weeks, but potentially it could be right.
Yeah.
Like,
don't overpromise and underdeliver is, I think, the thing. And it's
not the Tracy last year was going to miss a week.
Yeah, like that's probably one.
And he did a PCL, I think it was.
Yeah.
And like anyone that knows anything about doing a PCL knows that's like 8 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's
like, see you later, season done.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And And I just don't see what the benefit in doing it that way is. You know,
Yeah.
is it? I sometimes wonder whether they're so worried about the messaging. And to be fair, you got Muppets like me just taking pot shots at them all the time. Because I understand that they can't be perfect, right? But why are you setting yourself up to disappoint everyone? You know, like, I get it. You just be realistic with it. So is Hayden Young? He's done his hammy. This is a recurrence of his hammy.
Yeah.
Like, they're saying it's low grade. I saw footage of him. He's already running around. So, okay, maybe it is low grade. But, you know, is round one even feasible? Isn't a hammy usually 21 day injury? So how far away are we until we play? You know, I don't know the exact answer.
And when was that? When was it actually done? So we're hearing like before the intra club. So that was last weekend. So are we a week into it now?
Well, they said over the weekend.
Yeah,
over the weekend. So we're due to play on the 15th of March, and it's been 5 days. Let's say he did it 5 days ago. So that would mean that he.
Yeah, that works out about right for 21.
Well, it makes it right on the edge.
Yeah.
So, but they have said that he's going to miss round one. So that would mean that if it's a 21-day injury, he's either right on the edge, or it's actually a little bit worse. It's not a 21-day injury; it's like a 30-day injury or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That it blows my mind.
And if he's on the edge for the following week, in my opinion, you scrap him from that too.
Yeah, for what's that? Sorry,
for the Sydney game. If he's on the edge of that one, you scrap him from that.
Yeah.
Too.
Well, the worst possible thing we could do is run him when he's not quite right, and then turn it into like a tear, a proper tear.
Exactly.
I don't want to suggest that we would risk him because he is so important, but I do also wonder, like, I know Justin Lemieux he will really be wanting his best players out there, because we all know that, well, I think we all know that if things don't go well early, we'll be calling for his head.
Might be a bit of a segue into what's happened during the week.
Yeah.
Had to do when it initially came out, I thought I'd better do a health check on you.
Yeah. But, I tell you what, it's really difficult to actually understand what the hell they've done, because the way they've communicated it and the way they've messaged it is that he's going to be the leader of our football program from 2026 and beyond. Now, when you read that initially, you're thinking, okay, that's a contract extension. That means that they're expecting him to be our coach, not just this year, but next year and beyond. Now, I know that they would normally make that messaging, we've got faith and blah, blah, blah. But this is a little different to that. This is a change in his employment agreement. And you couple that with the messaging, what else are you meant to think? Oh, yeah, he's going to be our coach moving forward. Now, you and I, and we've obviously been very active on social media, and we've spoken about this a number of times. If they are giving him any sort of assurance of being a coach, I wouldn't even give him assurance up until round 12 this year. I would be saying to him, mate, you better be 8-4, and if you're not, we're going. You're gone. Now, I think we'll be 3-9 at that point of looking through. If I go through my predictor, I think he will be gone by round 12. I think, because I've got zero faith in what we're going to achieve this year. But how does that factor into this change of employment?
So from what I've seen, I've listened to a couple of people. So there's no real change apart from his original contract was due to expire on the 31st of October this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this change has now given him, as in Justin Longmire himself, some peace of mind that he'll go into next year as such. So there's potentially he's covered as far as a payout goes. There's the same termination clauses and everything like performance indicators and shit like that are still in there. So he wins, he's the coach. He loses, he's gone, basically. So,
but why would we do that? Like, are they doing this?
To Jared Waitley's point. So, and I think I put this on social media. Not sure if you've seen it. So they've accommodated JL twice now. So the first one was before last season, right? They wanted to get the all the noise around his job and all that throughout the season out of the road, so they could focus on winning football games. That obviously didn't happen.
Yeah.
So I can guarantee you, and I know a lot of Freo supporters won't like this, but if they didn't extend it and it got to the end of last year, he didn't make finals, he would not be coaching us right now. They would not have renewed him.
Yeah.
So to me, he's on borrowed time in 2025. It's his last chance. If we do not make finals, there is no way he's coach next in 2026.
Yeah, but yeah. So it feels to me like we're coddling him. Like I think that, you know.
Well, there's a bit of romantics in sport, right? So he's an ex-Freo player. They want him to be the first Freo coach. So Freo person delivering the Freo Cup, right? There's a bit of that about it. So they're trying to back him in as much as they can. Everyone's talking about how good the list is. I know, but Josh Carr won't come back. He's got family in South Australia, and they couldn't pay him enough to bring him back. He's already said that. I'd take Josh Carr, you know that, over JL, but well, the jury's out on whether he can actually coach. He's got one of the best footy brains going around, but whether he can actually coach is another thing.
Justin Longmire does.
Justin Longmire,
You think he's got one of the best footy brains going around?
Yeah, but tactically on the day, I don't think he's great.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels to me like we're coddling him. It honestly, now, you know I'm not a fan of Simon Garlick either, but I get the romanticism part of it, but it really feels like we're just trying to give him additional assurances because he's a good bloke. And I think he is a good bloke.
Yeah, there's a bit of that.
And that to me,
the players love him.
And that to me is not the way to run a business. It is not the way to run a professional sports organisation. You know, pressure creates diamonds. No other club would do this. You know, no other club would do this. Every other club goes, look, we're going to give you 5 years, and you had better show that you're up to it. And if you don't, you're out. Well, what we've done is gone, here's 5 years. Okay, you haven't proven anything. In fact, our game plan's terrible. Our in-game decisions are shocking. Our selection is baffling. But here, have an extra year so that you can feel a bit better about yourself for the 6th year. Then we bring in the 6th year, and you know, we're going to give you an extended employment for beyond, you know, and it's like, why? You've done nothing. Yeah. All you have got, all we've seen has been that you've got a great list and an inability to get us beyond 10th, other than 1 year, which, let's face it, we had a great draw and we snuck up on the competition. It just baffles me. Again, it's nothing personal on him as a bloke. I think he's a lovely bloke. I really like the guy, and I want him to succeed. I just don't think they've got it in him. He's got it in him, because I just can't see how the club progresses with that game plan. And unless something, now, admittedly, it's the start of the year, you know, unless something changes, which, if we're going by, and I know it's an exhibition match, That All-Stars game, that's the same crap that we've dealt up every other year. So,
yeah, in the All-Stars game, they tried to throw in the thing about, the cameras are on, so we didn't want to give our, what was the term?
They wanted to be...
They played vanilla or something.
Yeah, they played vanilla.
Like, as if they're good enough to just flick a switch and just play how they want. Yeah. Like, we've proven for 5 years we can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are you gonna do in this practice game against Melbourne? Are you gonna do the same thing and play vanilla, and then all of a sudden against a seasoned side like Geelong, you're gonna go down to Cardinia and flick the switch, and you're gonna play the way you want to play for the season proper? We're not good enough to do that.
But we're good enough to win 17 games, are we? We'll get to that. But
I guess my point there is we're not good enough to flick around how we're playing. Like, if you want to play a certain way, you practice it the whole preseason, no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, clubs are going to study you no matter what.
Yeah. I just... Yeah,
well, to me, it's the goals with...
like, and you know, the other worrying thing for me about this is that this, in a roundabout way, the fact that we've gone down this path twice about wanting to give Justin greater assurance and all the rest of it, this tells me that his mind is not in the space of, hey, it's like he's prepping himself for failure. You know what I mean? Like, is it he's already in his mind going, look, man, if things don't go well this year, I need to make sure that I've got things in place. Like, is that subtly, is he already internally prepping himself for the fact that they're not going to perform?
That's the way it sounds.
Well, if that's the case, then he's the wrong guy for the job. He's the wrong guy for the job, if that's the case. Now, we'll never...
Like, he's mentioned numerous times about how he just wants to focus on the football and not have the noise about the coaching situation. Yeah. Well, I know what silences that.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. And this is what our point was last year, is just win some effing games. You know, I don't care. And I had a couple of rants yesterday, as I do, at a few Freo supporters. Not personal, obviously, but just, you know, already there are those saying, oh, I can already see we've already got injuries. They're already giving them an out. I don't care if Tracy, Amos, Young and Sarong are missing from round one. If you don't win that game against Geelong, that's on you, Justin, and that's on you, the team. I don't care. I'm tired of hearing this crap about the excuses, because good teams win. Good teams find a way.
I said something similar yesterday as well.
Every other team has these examples of epic road wins, against the odds. Brisbane had 5 ACLs last year. 5 ACLs last year. You know, and we're hearing, you know, and already we're getting our supporters prepping themselves for, you know, not good results. And I'm tired of that. That is just not the way. You know, we either win.
It's just got to be the next man in scenario. Like, one goes down, one comes in. Tracy goes down, Voss comes in.
Yeah. Do your effing job. They are paid.
One of the mids goes down. You have Brody and Raz and whoever else.
Yeah.
Like Draper.
Yeah.
Like,
Draper plays well.
Structures right. Get your structures right, and they just fill the gap.
Even Hugh Davies, when he came in last year, I thought he looked pretty good as well. So, you know, our backline are organised enough, and it seems as though they're talented enough to cover, right? But the midfield, I don't know whether it's talent, whether it's ethic, whether it's what it is, but they fall apart. They absolutely fall apart if things aren't going their way. And, you know, and our forward line, malfunctions is often a symptom of our poor midfield. So, and this is the other thing I'm fucking tired of hearing about. Excuse my language, but Freo's got the best midfield in the league. What a load of crap! What a load of bullshit! They aren't even in the top 5.
No, I've got them top 4.
No. They're because, and you know why? You know why they're not? Because they don't fucking stand up under the pressure. Other than Sarong, even Hayden Young, like we're talking about Hayden Young, and I believe Hayden Young will be our next Brownlow medalist. I believe that. So I think Hayden Young is an absolute superstar. He's our most important player, just about. One of the top 3. My view is that he has only been playing midfield for 1 year, right? So and last year he was really good. He comes second or third in our best and fairest. He's great. He is not a bona fide superstar in the midfield yet.
No.
So and Brayshaw's a good trier. I know people. We've gone through this so many times, but he isn't elite. He's not elite. He's a good average player. Good, solid B grader. I likened him, actually. I'm actually quite proud of myself for this one. I don't know if you saw this. You know who Andy Brayshaw is? He's Michael Braun. He's Michael Braun. That is the best comparison I can come from. Now, Michael Braun won an All-Australian. He won Premiership. Michael Braun was a good, solid player, but he wasn't Kirk Cousins or Judd. That is who Andy Brayshaw is.
Yeah, but you can't have a side of...
No, I know. No, I know. I'm not saying that. But what you need...
Yeah.
Yes, you need your Michael Braun. He was a very, very good player, right? You need Michael Braun. But you know what you need more than Michael Braun? Kerr, Judd and Cousins. Now, we've got Sarong and Young. Who else have we got? So, this is the thing. The midfield is average. It's slightly above average. And the stats are misleading. The stats say, yeah, we're a great clearance team or whatever. Well, what I would love to see those stats, again, what I'd like to see? I would like to see the stats for when we're down, or the stats, the midfield clearance stats when we're away from home, or when we're against a team that's in the top 4. Because we never beat a team in the top 4. Yeah. You know what? They're bum slayers.
The clearance stats are a bit misleading because if you break it down to CBAs, we lose that. We're not in the top 5.
Yeah.
Overall, we're second in the clearances, but that's held up by our stoppage clearances around the ground.
Yeah. I think that they're bum slayers. I think that they beat up on teams without, great midfields. But then the second you put them against GWS or Brisbane or, any of the other great teams, Sydney, we beat Sydney in Sydney, right? Fantastic. Sydney also came over and smacked us at home. So, I'm not saying that can't...
That game's a bit of an outlier.
Well, everyone says that. No, I don't agree. I don't agree with that. But,
well,
no one...
It was 9-1 to 1-9 at one point.
Yeah. Well, bad kicking, bad football. But, the outlier that I think everyone keeps talking about is Cam McCarthy. But
there was that, but I'm not going to put the game down to that.
No. A lot of people do, though. But yeah,
well, everyone looks for an excuse.
Yeah. So I guess I'm just so tired. I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared, and this is what I honestly want to see from the club moving forward. They've got to invest more heavily in the midfield because I think that the back line is solid. The forward line is very, very good now, but the midfield's our weakness.
Yeah,
and I'm tired. I'm tired of the narrative that it's our strength because it just isn't.
Well, you may get your football. We'll try and fix up your point there in the off season coming up. See whether we can get a certain Sydney player.
Yeah, well, he would help.
My thoughts on that whole thing is I think this is going to be a 2-year thing. So Warner will come this year and then Pickett the next.
You reckon?
He can just play out his contract at Melbourne. I don't think they'll let him go.
No, I kind of agree with you on that. Like, why would they? Like, it's the Rory Lobb situation, and Pickett's a much better player than him.
Which gives us extra time to get the picks and that whatever to get him. So,
and especially if Petraka and Oliver are still trying to get out, like they're not going to let everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, you might want to leave, mate, but sorry, you got a contract.
Yeah. So, we'll see. Look, the Chad Warner thing is interesting because I've been so resolute and so stout on the fact that he will be coming to Freo, but all the noise is the other way, you know? And so, now how much of that... Now, you've had Glenn Jakovic...
Yeah, but who's pushing that noise, though?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's a West Coast-driven thing, right? So, whereas Glenn Jakovic is saying, I think he's going to Freo. Now...
I wouldn't read too much into Jakovic.
Well, Jakovic is Jakovic is a family friend to the Warners, actually.
Yeah.
So but all the noise is around, West Coast and the Don Pike connection and the fact he played a round of golf with them. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see because I don't think he's staying at Sydney. I really don't think he's staying at Sydney.
Nah, he's coming home regardless, and I'm still pretty resolute in he's coming to Freo. Everyone's talking about Pickett coming this year. That's not going to be the case. He's going to be held to his contract, and worst case scenario, Pickett come back and he may end up at West Coast. But
I don't think he'll end up at West Coast just because all his family and mates play for Freo.
Yeah.
And
no, that's just worst case scenario.
Yeah.
But yeah, Warner's been the priority for a couple of years. We've had a couple of cracks prior. That'll help solve some of your midfield.
Yeah, well, yeah. The other one that now, you know me, it takes me a little while to warm up to players sometimes.
You're pretty happy when you got drafted.
What was that?
You're pretty happy when Bruce got drafted.
Yeah. Well, no, I wasn't unhappy. I just, to be honest with you, I didn't really know much about him, and I don't keep a lot of tracks on the state under 18s, that sort of stuff.
I think you were pretty steadfast on trading that pick.
Well, I wanted Taj Houghton, right? And I think we should have traded that pick out, but that was really around Warner, and obviously that hasn't happened. But you also raised a good point that we needed to take that to enable us to unlock the future picks. So, okay, I sort of got that. Now, Murphy Reid, I still think his reaction on draft day was probably a little bit telling. He didn't seem particularly happy, but
I think he was more nervous and shocked.
Maybe. We'll never know. Maybe we might know in 3 years' time. But what I will say is that as far as his game goes, I'm pretty bloody happy with the way he is looking. He's progressing. He looks like a very, very good footballer. Very accomplished.
Yeah.
Sort of guy that I think we need. Now, he's not fast. That's the only thing. He's pretty. He's not. He's not particularly quick, but he.
Yeah, but we recently had another smooth mover that wasn't overly quick.
No.
Played 300 plus games.
Yeah. No, so Dave in the same number. Yeah. So it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not saying that that's going to impact him. I'm just saying that now we've got a bunch of midfielders who I think are probably a little bit one-paced.
Yep.
Sarong, Young, Brayshaw, and Reid, I think, are all probably... None of them are speedsters.
I think you'll see Shy come through the midfield quite a bit this year.
Maybe. Yeah. But even if
he'll do it in bursts like he did for the Tigers.
Yeah, it'll be bursts maybe, but I actually think we'll be relying on him to do that 3 goals in a quarter type thing that he seems to be very good at doing. But yeah, so anyway, back to Reid. I think Reid looks very, very accomplished. He reminds me of Mundy, Pendlebury, that sort of a player.
Yeah, players that seem to have time.
His skills look immaculate, which is straight away that gets me on board because if there's
skills and awareness,
if there's one thing that
like those couple of side steps, like he really shouldn't have known one of those guys was where he was, and still got around. So.
No, he looks the goods to me, and so hopefully we can we'll give him a good run. I believe at this point he'll be playing round 1. I think he's done enough. And I think it might be as much about he's done more than what Erasmus and Johnson and Simpson have. And so, it's almost those guys have stepped back and he stepped forward. So,
100%.
Here you go, son. Have a game. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I hope he plays. I hope he gets a good run at it. I still worry about Erasmus and Johnson and Simpson now. They just don't seem like they're stepping up. They don't. Maybe they just don't have it. Still young.
Yeah. Like Simpson's, it's his second year, but like he started off well last year. He came in for that debut, and everyone talked about that sidestep he did.
Yeah.
And it went quiet after they didn't really do too much in the waffle. But yeah, Raz has had his opportunities to build in waffle, and he had form in the waffle, but there's just something he's not doing that the coaching group just don't like. And when he gets to the AFL level, I think it's all around decision making. He's doesn't take that first option. He's like a deer in the headlights most of the time. I just don't think he's in between he's almost too good for waffle, but not good enough for AFL.
Yeah,
and there's some of those players around,
which is not what you want with a bloody top 10 pick. Well done, Wolsey. Good job. So yeah, look, the other thing that worries me about Neil Erasmus is he doesn't have any penetration with his kick. Like you don't need
a roll.
Yeah, like you don't need to have to be able to kick the ball like Hayden Young, but you've got to be able to kick the ball solid 50 meters, and do it without that loopy sort of easily interceptable cadence to it. You've got to be able to have some sort of depth, or you know what I'm saying. Like you've got to be able to have that. So between his decision making and potentially a lack of kicking penetration, and the thing is that you can have not such a great kick and still make it at AFL level if your decision making is quick and you've got good hands at ground level. And that, like Pritis, I always go back to Pritis. Like that guy was a solid average footballer, but he won a Brownlow, so he was above average really. But his kicking was no good. But he had such good quick decision making. His hands below ground were immaculate, and he was tough. And that gave him a good career. And Neil, he just doesn't seem to be able to, do that at this point. And as far as Johnson goes, Johnson to me makes way too many mistakes, and he seems a bit soft to me. He seems a bit soft at the contest.
Yeah, I just can't have him in my side at all, to be honest.
No. And
every time he gets close to the ball, I just think, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Like just waiting for the turnover.
Yeah, and he and again, like we everyone was so rapt. Like, oh, we got him at 19. What a wonderful. And I know the hindsight's 2020, right? But But it's David Walls' job to know whether a guy has it or not. And he continually fucks up first, top 20 picks. He continually messes them up. And it drives me nuts. And it annoys me that everyone keeps giving him an out. Oh, in Walls we trust. What's he done for it? Other than get Sarong and Young, like an Amos. Like, really? How are our top 20 picks looking? Maybe Murphy Reid might be another.
Yeah, Murphy will turn it around. Well, it's only pre-season, obviously, against fellow Freo players, but yeah, we'll see how he goes against actual opposition.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll see. Geelong, Geelong in round one, going to be difficult over there. So yeah, I hope.
Yeah, that's one of the games I've got us losing. One of the 6.
Yeah. All right. Hey, do we want to just take a couple minutes break, and we'll come back and we'll look at our predictions?
Okay.
Yeah. So let's just give it a couple of minutes and yeah. Back we go. Now that we're not talking about personal stuff, we can get back into the into the fold. So, look, 2025 going to be an interesting season. Always is. I figure that maybe it might be good to have a little bit of a healthy debate about where we see our team and what other predictions we have for the year. So how I wanted to go this. Let's start off with Freo, mate. I know we've already given a little bit of a hint away on where you think that Freo are going to be, but we'll start off on ladder position. Where do you reckon Freo are going to end up this year?
So via ladder predictor, I've got us 5th.
5th.
Yeah.
So 17 wins and 5th.
Yeah, and this is how good the ladder predictor, I guess, is. So if you go back over the course of, say, the last 5 or so years, 17 wins puts you in the top 2.
So if you look at my ladder, I've got Sydney with 17 wins at 3rd.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you've got us 5th, and I have us at 13th, having 8 wins. And I expect a caretaker coach halfway through the year. Now, it's look, I think we're probably somewhere in the middle. But I will say this. The Dockers fixture has done us no favours whatsoever. No favours whatsoever.
The first 2 weeks are brutal.
Yeah, first 2 weeks are brutal. The third week we then have to go and play West Coast, and they smacked us last year. And then we've got the Bulldogs, who I think are going to be a very good team this year.
And they smacked us away last year.
They smacked us away. That game's at home, though. Then we play Richmond, who another easy. You would expect easy win, but but it's over in Melbourne. And then we've got Melbourne, who I think are going much better. Adelaide, so St Kilda away from home. So unfortunately, it seems like a lot of our home games are against better teams, and our away games are against maybe the teams that are with us around our sort of, what I think is around that 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th position. And the reason why I've been negative, unfortunately it's my nature to be negative with Freo, but the reason why I think that things aren't going to go our way is because historically we do not stand up away from home against teams that are in or around our level. So, but I do have us as a good, I think that after 23 wins, our percentage will be about 90. I think I've got 93%. So I think we're going to be in most games. I just don't think we're going to win them.
Well, we proved that last year, like the last 4 weeks, we were in every one of those games and didn't win.
So. Yeah, but I think that it's easy to be in most games when you don't care about scoring, you only care about defending. Like if you just bottle it up and and lose by 10, 15 points every game, well, then, that's not acceptable, but I feel like that's the way that we, that's our mentality.
Yep.
So, as far as ladder predictor goes, who did you have coming out on top?
I've got the Giants.
Giants, yeah, right. So I have Carlton winning 19 games, and the reason for that, and unfortunately they've had a couple of injuries, a couple of pretty big injuries too, a couple of knees, but to Newman and Jagger Smith, but their draw is the sort of draw we should have got. I think they got like the 13th or 14th hardest draw, and they have a midfield that I think is in the top 2 or 3 in the league. They've got the two big guys up front, Curnow and Mackay, who I think are both. I think they're both going to have good years. Curnow unfortunately gets injured, and I think he's battling a bit of a knee at the moment.
Yeah, he had surgery on it. He'll probably miss the early part of the season.
Yeah, so
TDK the ruck goes pretty well too.
Does he? I don't know. I think he's a little bit overrated. I think both
when he was sole ruck, they were better performed.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's not a good player. I saw something. Who was it? Somebody said that he's going to be Max Gawn. No,
Max Gawn
reckons he's going to be
player of the generation or something.
The best player of the decade or something. Like, you are an idiot, mate. You are just. Surely, him and his mates at Melbourne are having a laugh. Like they'll be like
just in the ruckman fraternity.
It's ridiculous. So I just think Carlton, and they're always thereabouts, and I think.
Yeah, I've got them third.
Yeah, I just reckon that they're gonna put it together. I think.
Who's the rest of your top 4?
Yeah, so my top 4 is Carlton, Brisbane, Sydney, GWS. Now, having said Carlton being top, I don't think they're going to win it. In fact, I don't even think they're going to make the grand final. I have GWS beating Port Adelaide in the grand final.
No, I've got GWS beating the Blues.
Yeah, right. Okay. So I think Port
will get done in the first week of the finals.
I think Port are going to put it together this year. I think that I know.
I think next year will be the year once Carr's in head coach.
I think look, I wouldn't be devastated if Hinkley came and took over from Justin. Once we halfway through the year, once it's all fallen apart, Hinkley will be looking for another job. Now, obviously, the preference is Longmire, but
yeah, I think Hinkley's pretty linked to the Tassie job at the minute.
Longmire?
Nah,
Hinkley. Really? I've heard Longmire, I didn't hear Hinkley. But either way, I think those guys are proven to be able to get clubs to be consistently challenging.
Yeah.
So yeah, but Port, Butters, Rosie.
Butters is out for a while.
Yeah, I saw that actually. Butters, Rosie, Willem Drew's a pretty decent follower. They got Ollie Wines. He's probably towards the end, but he's still solid. I think they've got a bit of they've got a fair bit of talent there in that midfield.
Yeah, I've got them 7th.
Yeah. So, who have you got for the Brownlow? I know you love a bet.
Very close to home.
Yep, me too.
I think if we win more games, I'm on Sarong.
Yep, I've got Sarong too. Yeah, I reckon that. Where did he come this year?
4th, maybe.
4th, yeah.
And I think I heard someone say that his total would have won multiple Brownlows, like that total that he got.
But that Cripps total was ridiculous, right? Like, didn't he get like 45 votes or something? It was stupid.
Yeah.
But In fact, I think even who come runner up, the guy was it Bont, who come runner up, and even his was a record. Like the top two were record vote gets. It's a bit silly, but yeah. So yeah, but I'm with you. I reckon Sarong gets enough of the ball. I think he's our heart and soul. He's our leader, in the midfield, and I think that the fact that we do seem to win clearances a lot means that he's always there or thereabouts in the umpire line. So I think Sarong's a really good bet. As far as Coleman medal goes, I reckon Mackay from Carlton. I reckon he's gonna kick bags this year, beating up on garbage teams. I think he is a lock. I reckon for that.
Yeah, I'm having a flutter on Cyclone, to be honest.
Yeah, not bad. Not a bad. Hello there, dog. Not a bad bet. For me, it just comes down to wins. Are we going to kick enough goals? Like, it is very hard for me to bet on Fremantle to win any sort of competition when it comes to a Freo player to win any sort of competition when it comes to kicking goals, because we don't let it happen. You know what I mean? Like, if the game plan doesn't enable more than 10 goals a game, then how can... Yeah.
Well, allegedly, that's the old vanilla style, and we're just going to flick a switch come round one, and we'll be all good.
Yep, not going to happen. But we'll see. I hope. God, I hope I'm wrong. Now, believe me, if I am wrong, there are going to be plenty of people who are going to be willing to let me know about it.
Yeah, but in saying that, I know I've said it, and I guarantee you said it, that you'll be the first person to stand there and say you got it wrong.
Yeah.
And we both want nothing more.
Yeah.
I love nothing more than JL to sit there and hold the cup up this year. I've loved nothing more.
Yeah.
I've got nothing against the guy, apart from the fact that he doesn't look like he can coach. But
yeah, I know. It's
and I'm saying that because of his record in 5 years.
Yeah.
So the proof is in the facts. Like, you've had one finals appearance. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah, we're not really saying any. We're not saying any. I don't think anything that's outrageous. But a lot of people don't agree.
Yeah, but that's because they like him, right?
Yeah.
They're not looking at
anyway. Yeah. Wooden Spooner, I think. Geez, we have to be unanimous here, don't we? It's got to be Richmond, doesn't it?
It has to be Richmond. I can't see that. I've got them winning one game according to this predictor. They'll probably win a couple more, but
I've got them winning 0. I reckon they're going to be the first team in. Oh, geez, I don't know how long. I reckon they're going to win 0. I can't see how they're going to win one. They've got a lot of talent when it comes to the guys that they've just brought in. But as we've shown with Erasmus and Johnson, a couple of those guys will only be average footballers. Average. Or not even good. So, and then there'll be injuries. They've got 0 depth. Their best forward last year, what was his name? Mackay Lafetau or something?
Yeah,
he's still coming back from his ACL. They've lost Baker. They've lost Bolton.
Yeah. Who's the Lynch? He's still injured.
Yeah, well, he'll always be injured. He should have left. He should have gone to Brisbane. Like, they were looking, he should have gone.
Yeah, replace
Danaher. Then you've got Prestia, who's out again with a hammy. Yeah, that guy must be he's just playing to get his paycheck. Away, he's playing to get his paycheck now, because he knows he's not going to be playing much footy. So poor old Adamuze, he's not been given much of a go here. He's going to look like Mark Neal.
prospective coach, there is probably no way I would ever have gone for that Richmond job because you're on a hiding to nothing.
Yeah.
Unless you're guaranteed, unless Richmond gives you some guarantees that you don't cop flack for the performance.
Yeah.
For like a few years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they should know that they're not winning more than, say, 5 games a year at least, and for another 2 years.
Yeah, got to be
until these guys develop. And
there's got to be those assurances, doesn't there?
Yeah, like there's no way I'd be doing that.
Yeah.
I'd stick around and get some experience as an assistant somewhere. There's no way I'd take that on.
It was a bit like the West Coast job, right? But it can turn around pretty quickly. I think.
Yeah, but I think West Coast are a mile ahead of Richmond, though. So if we're talking about McQualter taking that job,
I think they are now. But 2 years ago they weren't. Maybe that was the value.
No, but McQualter's only just taking this job.
Maybe that was the value of keeping Simpson for an extra year, is to let him take the fall for, and give him an extra year to, to get some players. And I think, speaking of West Coast, where have you got them finishing?
I've got them second last, but honestly, they're probably going to be anywhere between 14th, 15th, 7th to 17th. Yeah. They'll probably win 5 or 6 games. I don't think they're as bad as a 3-win team as I've got them now.
No, so I've got them 5 wins, and I've got them at 16th. Just behind St Kilda. And a lot's going to depend on. Yeah, a lot is just going to depend on whether they get injuries. They've lost Barras, who's arguably one of their best players, and McGovern's never seemingly fit. So I think
that's the area where they could have downfalls. Like theoretically, if they come up against, say, a forward line like ours, when you've got to have someone for Trace, you've got to have someone for a miss, then you've got to have someone for Jackson floating down, then you've got to have someone for Bolton, then you've got to have. I don't know how they're going to cover a side like that, and it's going to be the same against, say, Carlton.
Yeah.
With even similar against, say, the Bombers, who have got Caddy and who's that? Harrison Jones.
Yeah.
And, who's the other guy? Langford. And so there's teams with multiple forwards, decent forwards, they're going to struggle against just with that back line. I know they'll push Harry Edwards and they'll push a couple of the others. Like Brady Hoff has improved out of sight. You told me 2 years ago Brady Hoff was going to be as good as he was last year. I would have told you absolutely dreaming. I would have had him in one of the worst players in the league.
Yeah.
He was only getting a game because of how bad the West Coast list was. But last year, he was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't watch much West Coast last year. All I saw is Michael Fredericks kill him. So
yeah, I mean, but he's done that a fair bit. Just burn him off with speed, but
yeah. But no, look, I think with West Coast, their most important player is Elliot Yeo. I think. If they don't have Yeo playing, and I think he's missing a few weeks, right, because of his nerve.
Yeah, at least the first month.
So their midfield, you've obviously got Harley Reid there, but other than him, who have they got? It's kind of it seems a bit thin there in the midfield, but I do think that even on the basis of the West Australian home ground advantage, they're going to win some games just based on that. So look, I've got no love.
Well, if they play Richmond twice, they should be beating Richmond twice. But I mean, if they travel over east, there's no guarantee they travel well. So that might be a game Richmond wins. I don't know.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting to see what their game plan comes out as. McQualter didn't exactly wow everyone when he was coaching Richmond, as a caretaker coach, but different scenario, maybe couldn't actually implement all that he wanted to implement. So it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, so that's I suppose that's where I think the year's going to go. But I think it's time for GWS to win one. They've got so much talent.
Well, they really butchered the end of last year. Like the two finals they lost, they led both.
Yeah.
And the Brisbane game, they were up by 40 points.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
yeah,
they will be ruining that season for years to come. Like that was a missed opportunity. Brisbane should never have been premiers last year based on it.
You know what I love the way GWS now, how they've set themselves up. They've done like the opposite of what Gold Coast have done, and this is what the Tassie team should do. They should set themselves up where they've got so much talent and so much first round picks. Don't go for the established player unless they're a younger sort of player.
Yeah.
And then just rack up all those first round picks. And then after 2 or 3 years, you're going to have guys that are going to want to go home, trade them off, get more first round picks, and then build your team that way. And that way you can lose guys like Treloar and guys like Taylor Adams, and then but you just pick up, Cornelio, or pick up, or maybe not Cornelio, but Tom Green, guys like that, and you're okay.
Steele was another one.
Yeah, Kelly, Shield, So they've let guys like that go, but I'm sure they wanted to keep them, but then
but they got more coming in the door behind.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the way to do it. I think Greater Western Sydney have provided the perfect blueprint for Tasmania. So this is their time. They've done everything except win it. So
out of interest, where have you got the Gold Coast?
Yeah, where do I have the gold? Oh, I've got them making the finals for the first time. I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check that. I don't know why.
I've got them 12th.
Yeah, no, I've got them sneaking in at 8th. And guess what? They're going to sneak in with 14 wins. So, I think Gold Coast, they'll be all right.
Just depends on whether they can play away from home. That was their issue last year. They were world beaters at home. They go away and they can't do a thing. So if they improve that,
yeah. No, they're. I think they've got talent. So we'll see. And I think Hardwick is a good coach. So it'll be interesting to see.
And I think the Twitter handle for the Bombers not playing a final keeps going another year.
Yeah,
because I've got them 15th. A lot of people are pumping them up. I can't see them doing anything.
Yeah, I got them 14th. They're on the same wins as us on 8th. 8 wins.
I've got them 5 wins.
5 wins, yeah. Yeah, no, and they might be looking for a new coach too.
Well, yeah, Brad Scott's not a coach.
Nah.
He proved that at North.
Yeah. All right, mate. So that's our predictions. Look, I think I probably need to
go
and do some stuff. So good rundown. We'll reconvene again in the very near future, probably to discuss round 1.